What's up, you toe-tangling Tamagotchi pets? It's Total Tuesday, so I'm here with another episode of Ballin With Bump. We had week 4, which brought us some of our first bye weeks. A sad day for some certain teams' fans, some certain fantasy points. But nonetheless, we had football this weekend, and a lot of things went down. One thing that went down, Vontaze Burfict's career, because his helmet just keeps going up. Another thing that went down, flags. Every single game, a million penalties, and that's all we heard about with the recaps going on. The referees can't keep their flags in their pockets. They don't know what is and what isn't a penalty, just like they don't know what is and what isn't a catch. Reviewable plays having unfavorable calls. It gives us a lot of entertainment. It gives us a lot of topics. This weekend, I didn't get to watch as much football as I would have liked. I did have to work on Sunday, but that shmoney's got to come in. I did get to catch a few games. We're going to go over a couple of them. Number 1, the Patriots beat the Bills 16-10. That one was a nail-biter for Patriots fans like myself. We saw Tom Brady look like a 42-year-old. We saw Josh Allen look like a 20-whatever-year-old. I think he's younger than me. Buffalo's defense is the real deal, okay? They picked off Tom Brady. They held him to 150 yards. He had 38 pass attempts and completed less than half of his pass attempts. He completed half of his pass attempts because the secondary jammed up all the receivers. There were almost no open targets on any of the plays. Despite Edelman playing hurt, it didn't matter. Usually Tom Brady always makes a read and finds the open man, and there was nobody to be found on Sunday. The Bills' defense is a problem. Point blank, period. The Patriots came out strong. They came out and scored 13 points in the first half. The Bills, they had a strong comeback effort. Frank Gore amassed his 15,000th rushing yard, so shout out to him. He also had 109 yards on the day. Now, their problem came with the Patriots' defense. Josh Allen threw 3 interceptions. Unfortunately, he got lost in that game. Just another bad helmet-to-helmet hit. He went through concussion protocol and brought in the Trojan, Matt Barkley. Playing the comeback game, he picked up the pace. He passed for 127 yards. He got right down the field, and then he threw an interception. The Patriots got 4 interceptions in the game. They brought pressure all day, 5 sacks, very impressive. However, they did allow their first offensive touchdown of the season, and it came to the Bills. The Bills are no joke. They're a team to watch for. Devin McCourty records an interception in the 4 straight games. Shout out Devin McCourty. His brother might be a little bit jealous. Watch for him to get a pick in this next game. The Patriots, they scored off a punt block, which is the first time that's happened under Bill Belichick. They blocked a punt, scored off that. Brandon Bolden, he scored his touchdown off a run around the corner. We had to pull out a couple tricks on the Bills' defense. Brady wasn't that effective, and Sony Michel, 16 touches, around 67 yards, I believe. I should probably have that down, but I digress. This was another game where there were penalties galore, 15 penalties in the game, and let's hold those flags tight from now on. Let's get the show on the road. Let's finish these games, because this game was on TV until about 4:30, 4:35, around there. It finished up late because of all the penalties. Now, before that, on Thursday night, we had Philadelphia taking on Green Bay, and Philadelphia ended up pulling out the win that night. Wentz threw for 3 touchdowns. The impressive thing in this game was the rushing game that Philadelphia brought. They had a strong usage of back between Howard and Sanders. They both broke out for huge runs. Sanders isn't one of those feature backs that you use in short yardage or third down. They switch it out often. Wentz utilized his favorite targets, Zach Ertz, and that's how he got the ball down the field. Wentz is one of those quarterbacks where you see something different every week. When he's in there, he's healthy, he makes his reads, and he does a great job. I think it's time for the Wentz slander to stop. 3 touchdowns, 3 different receivers, used all of his receivers, made all of his reads, and used that franchise tight end correctly. Green Bay, they came out strong. They put numbers on the board. First things first. When the second quarter started for Philadelphia, that whole game was brand new. They came out and they came right at Green Bay. It was a great game, back and forth the whole time. I think the moment that changed that whole game and changed the momentum in that game was when that Philly pass rush got to Rodgers, and he ended up fumbling the ball and put Philadelphia in really good position. All night we saw Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, Philly's pass rush, they came after him, and that allowed him to open up and scramble. He was the lead rusher for Green Bay, partially due to them losing their back to another helmet-to-helmet hit. Yes, this is a couple of years in the league now where we've been putting an emphasis on helmet-to-helmet hits, and we lose yet another player to a helmet-to-helmet hit. As somebody who played football in the past, I can kind of understand how difficult it can be to, perform a form-fit tackle. These people are losing money. I mean, especially Vontae's perfect. He's losing a whole year's salary now. And we're seeing players get hurt. Now, due to the loss of the running back in that game, we saw Green Bay air it out the whole entire game, even against their better judgment. Now, yes, on one hand, Aaron Rodgers, he knows how to scramble, and he scampered down the field quite a few times. They also threw 4 straight times on the goal line. When they had a chance to take the lead late in the game, Aaron Rodgers, being Aaron Rodgers, just like he was all game, I'm going to fit this ball right in between 3 defenders. Interception. Game over. It was a thrilling game. It's entertaining. It's entertaining to see games like this. It's entertaining to see a defensive play be the deciding factor in a game. Philadelphia improving to 2-2. We see Green Bay at 3-1. Both teams are in good spots, and we're only a quarter way through the season, so let's see how this progresses. Without further ado, I'm going to move on to the game of the week. It was between this one and the Philadelphia game, and I chose to go with Kansas City versus Detroit. We haven't talked about Kansas City yet. This game was hyped up a lot, Patrick Mahomes' first time in the Dome, Patrick Mahomes. And what we saw from Pat Mahomes was a brilliant game-winning drive with 2:26 left on the clock. We saw 315 yards come from that arm. We saw him not get sacked once, even though the pressure was brought to him. Detroit, their defense is the real deal. They brought pressure to Pat Mahomes like no other team has. However, the way he scrambles around, he was able to move out of the pocket and go for extra yardage, including in that game-winning drive where it was 4th and 8, and he decided to pull the trigger and just go for it and picked up the first down, which ended up keeping KC's hopes alive and getting them the win. With all that rushing power, they have LaShawn McCoy, who ended up getting a touchdown on the game, who's the fantasy sleeper of the year, if you ask me. We have the short yardage back, Williams. He had the final touchdown of the game. Not only that, he had another touchdown earlier in the game. LaShawn McCoy right now seems to be Kansas City's feature back. And hey, I love a good comeback. Pat Mahomes used Travis Kelce like no other and gave him a chance to shine in this game. And this dude, he's got to be one of the best tight ends in the league. On top of that, they have an incredible amount of weapons. It seems like every side of the ball, they can do whatever they want, and that offense is just super scary. Not only that, they have DeAnthony Thomas, and we all know him from Oregon. He's back there returning kicks looking like Flash Gordon. This game was yet another back and forth game. Fumbles galore. One coming off of Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, sack. KC got 4 sacks on the game to Detroit's 0. Detroit's pressure was there. If it wasn't, we probably wouldn't have seen Mahomes pick up that many yards on the ground. Matt Stafford showed off his arm the whole entire game, looking like a classic Matt Stafford, right down to the Hail Mary attempts at the end of the game. This dude's got a cannon, never ceases to amaze me, picks up 291 yards and 3 touchdowns, and let's talk about Kerryon Johnson with 125 yards. Detroit's got weapons too, and they come on both sides of the ball as well. Last week I made fun of them for having that tie. They pick up their first loss this week, but they're a team to watch moving forward. Back and forth, right down to the end of the game. What more could you ask for when it comes to football? So we have the Pats, the Chiefs, and the 49ers as the remaining unbeaten teams a quarter of the way through the season. The Cowboys fell to those special saints that I've been talking about all season. The Buccaneers had a shootout with the Rams, knocked them off. Jameis Winston looked like an animal with another 380-yard game. Knocking on the hype door are the Cleveland Browns at the top of the AFC North. Just like that, they go into Baltimore, they leave with a win, and they're the AFC North champions of the quarter of the way through the season. Now, what's important about this is they're 2-2 at this point in the season, and both their wins came on the road. They haven't won at home yet. So with this energy after beating Baltimore, I'd love to see what they do the next time they're in front of the dog pound. And with that being said, let's move on to the Ballin With Bump MVP of the week. Nick Chubb. Yeah, Nick Chubb. Nick, 22-mile-an-hour Chubb. This dude ran an 88-yard touchdown and reached the top speed of 21.95 miles an hour. This dude runs faster than your grandma drives. Not only did he have an 88-yard touchdown, he also had 165 yards on the game. 165 yards and 3 touchdowns over this Baltimore defense that is also the real deal. They just didn't know what to do with him. He's a lot of people's fantasy back, and now we see why. When Kareem Hunt comes back, he's probably going to have to ride the pine due to this dude. Nick Chubb, you are the Ballin With Bump MVP of the week. Congratulations to the Browns for taking the AFC North. I know we're only a quarter way through the season, but all power to you. It was short, it was sweet. It is what it is. It's another episode of Ballin With Bump. Thank you for watching. This evening, if you have time and a couple spare pennies, click the link in the description and make a donation to my fundraiser for Healing Meals Foundation, which I'm fundraising for the Hartford Half Marathon. Healing Meals is a program that donates food and meals to families in the Hartford and Bloomfield area. Thank you all. Have a good week, and 2 days till football.